Hey guys, this is Camfrey15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I am here with again another video that I typically don't talk about on the channel. I typically don't do video game content. Well, if you look in my playlist, there is video game content. I have like Resident Evil 7. That's all completed on my channel, and then I got up to some point in Resident Evil 8. I finished the game on my own time. Hell, I have the recordings, on my PlayStation. I would just have to upload them to my computer. And then freaking just if I wanted to, and if you guys wanted to see it, finish me out playing Resident Evil 8, and then if I ever to download the DLC, there I go. But and then the only other video game content I had upload on the channel is Pokemon Legends Arceus, my review on that game. But mostly on my channel, I really do not talk video game content. But the one thing that I do like is I do like video games, so it's like I'd rather go in the realm of talking more about some very big important video games that I look forward to that I hope are good. And well, one of the things that well, or one of the games that I was looking very much forward to this year was the newest modern Sonic game, and that is Sonic Frontiers. Man, the decisiveness of this game, the decisiveness of the game. I've seen some people be like, it's all right. Well, I've seen some people absolutely love this game and say it's the best Sonic game ever in history, in the history of the franchise. Some people say it's definitely that good. So yeah, but for some background information, yeah, I am a Sonic the Hedgehog fan. I've been playing Sonic the Hedgehog since I was a kid. You know, I played the original. I remember when I was a kid, I played the original games. And I was born in 1998. But I played the original games when I was like, when my like 5, 6 years old, when I had like the Sonic Mega Collection. Um, and it's funny because I could never beat the original games, but eventually as I grew older and I revisited those games, I ended up beating the games. I never ended up having a GameCube, so I never got to play the Sonic Adventure games. It wasn't until they eventually came to Xbox of 360, and I ended up getting those games and playing them for the first time, which I had a blast playing those games. And then, my first introduction, I never played Shadow the Hedgehog. I played Sonic Heroes. I enjoy Sonic Heroes. Sonic Heroes is actually one of my favorite games. So going through my Sonic list, real quick, I like Sonic 1. Sonic 2, I'm fine with Sonic 2. Sonic 3, I like Sonic 3, Sonic 3 and Knuckles. I like Sonic 3 and Knuckles. The next up, main series wise, Sonic Adventure. I enjoy Sonic Adventure mostly, probably the really, I only enjoy like the Sonic and Tails levels, Knuckles levels to an extent, because I think in Sonic Adventure they're handled fairly easily in the first game compared to the second game. But the other play styles, I could honest to God care less. I didn't really like Amy's play style. I definitely did not like Big the Cat's play style. Gamma's all right. He's like the next best thing after those two, but it is what it is. Sonic Adventure, altogether, I still had a fine time with Sonic Adventure. Sonic Adventure 2, I really only cared for the Sonic and Shadow stages of that game. The Tails and Eggman stages didn't really do it for me. They were just kind of repeated Gamma stuff, but no better. The Rouge and Knuckles ones, although I like the music to some of those some of those levels, I didn't like how they handled their levels, especially the fact that when you compare to Adventure 1, they took away the single most important factor from Adventure 1 in SAO2, where you have to find one piece of Master Emerald at like one freaking time. That's when the radar would go off. So yeah. The next up was Sonic Heroes. Honestly, I enjoyed Sonic Heroes. Sonic Heroes, I think, is actually a pretty fairly underrated Sonic the Hedgehog game. The only issue with Sonic Heroes is you have to play through all the four teams to get to the main story. And just replaying each and every single level over again. It drags on a bit. Um, then one of the games I was first introduced when I went to like a hotel restaurant, like or a hotel resort. It was like my last year of being what they would consider a kid. And I went to the kids club. I ended up playing Sonic 06, the very much hated Sonic 06. Um, and when I found out that was that game, I ended up finding a way, bought it on my Xbox 360, and I played it. And honestly, you can call me crazy, but I actually like Sonic 06. I know it has its faults and everything, but I think since it's like one of the more better Sonic, or one of the more, I wouldn't say better Sonic games. It's one of the more, it's the one Sonic game that I played at an early enough age that it's like I understand the game has its faults, but for some odd reason, I just get enjoyment out of it. I don't know if it's the music or just something. I get some weird enjoyment, and I actually like and appreciate Sonic 06. Hold on a quick second, guys. Okay. Back. But like I said, yeah, I somehow get a weird pleasure out of playing Sonic 06. Yeah, crazy enough, huh? Next game was is the storybook games that I played through, or actually the Sonic Rider games. Uh I've actually owned all three Sonic Riders games. I played the original games, which funny enough, they actually do make a reference in Sonic Frontiers about the Babylonians. I enjoy the first one's probably my favorite out of the bunch. I enjoy the first one. I played Zero Gravity on my Wii. It was different. But I still personally take the first one, and then Free Riders was an absolute dog shit of a game. It's a mess of a game. I don't even talk about it, which I think Free Riders is the thing that killed the Riders series. Otherwise, you could potentially see the Riders series maybe being a thing that consistently happens, which honestly, I would like to see another Sonic Riders spin-off game again, this time for the modern consoles, That's what I would like. I just hope, it's not VR, again, something like what Free Riders was. And then again, I played the storybook games, Sonic and the Secret Rings, and then Sonic and the Black Knight. Those games are with me. I do think Sonic and the Black Knight is slightly better than the Secret Rings. But they're all music's great. And then after that, Sonic Unleashed. I definitely enjoy the day stages. Honestly, the night stages don't bother me. I've played both the Wii version and the Xbox PlayStation 3 version. Um, but I still prefer the modern generation one of that. Um, the Werehog stages doesn't bother me that much for those. So but I can still understand why people don't like them. But ultimately, I did enjoy my time with Sonic Unleashed. Again, one of the better Sonic games. And then after that, Sonic Unleashed with Sonic Colors. I never played Sonic Colors. Now, the funny thing is, I do have the Wii version, but when I found out that Sonic Colors was getting its remaster or remake or whatever, which was Sonic Colors Ultimate, I ended up getting that. And I know Sonic Colors Ultimate isn't the best. It's actually a downgraded version of the original one, but I enjoyed playing Sonic Colors. Albeit I like really just the typical regular, modern stages. I just felt like I didn't like too much the 2D stuff, but ultimately Sonic Colors I still enjoy my time with. Then after Sonic Colors was Sonic Generations. Sonic Generations was like one of the first Sonic games I got on my Xbox 360 when I first got it, and I just had a blast playing Sonic Generations. Sonic Generations was like the best of its time. Yeah, the story, I guess in a way you could say, sucks, but the gameplay and everything was just absolutely wonderful. I still remember like all the mods people were playing off of and everything. And then Sonic Lost World came. I saw it and I wasn't into it. I played a little bit of the Wii U version, but when I played through all the Sonic games, just to get to Frontiers, what is it? I played the 3DS version, and Sonic Lost World, it didn't do it for me, but I thought it was all right. The 3DS version, I guess enjoyed my time with it, but it's like a game I won't go back and play all over again for the love of God. So yeah, that's kind of that there. And then I never played any of the Boom games. I don't want to even think about touching the Boom games. I like the TV show though. The TV show is really good. And speaking of the TV shows, I watched the original, the Sonic SA, the original Sonic the Hedgehog show, The Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic Underground. I watched Sonic X. Hold on a quick. Okay, back. Yeah, the boom. I watched Sonic X. I like it. I like Sonic X, but now that's 4K. I watched the 4Kids version. I have to go back and actually watch Sonic X, but in the Japanese subbed version, because I heard the sub version is actually 10 times better than the 4Kids version, which is not shocking. So then, after the Sonic Boom travesty of the games, which you could honest to make the freaking mention the fact that Sonic Boom almost killed the damn franchise. Um, then yeah, Sonic Mania. I got it. I enjoyed Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania to the date to when I'm about to get into Frontiers was my favorite Sonic game just in general. In general, we're talking about modern Sonic. If we're talking about the difference in modern Sonic, I'll get to that. But yeah, Sonic Mania Plus was my favorite Sonic game in general. And then you had the highly anticipated Sonic Forces. I remember the build up to Sonic Forces, well, all the trailers that we were getting, just the hype of that first teaser trailer. And I was like, oh, what's going on here? And then, eventually and the funny thing is, never got my hands on it till like as of late to play the game. But I saw people's playthroughs of it, and I'm just like, oh wow, this game does not look good. And then even when I played it, there was in a way where I had some fun, but it's like, yeah, I can see why people did not like this game. I just felt like the levels were way too damn short. The customizable character was cool, to say the least. I made like a Jet the Hawk character, so yeah, but that's kind of the thing there. Um, and after that, pretty much you could say Forces effectively killed. I wouldn't say effectively killed, but it put the franchise in the mode where it's like, oh shoot, this franchise could be dead, like dead. And then we wait 5 long years, and then we get the teaser trailer to Sonic Frontiers. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I'm just like, what is going on here? And then everything. Then the IGN first gameplay came out. People didn't like it. I was kind of the approach was like, and I know it's kind of the an old Sonic fan stance, but I'm like, okay, you people are just critiquing the game. It's probably in a different certain phase that they haven't touched things up, and the game ended up getting delayed and everything. And the more this information came out about this game, the more I'm like, oh, this is interesting. I'm starting to like it. And all of a sudden, the day comes, and which was funny because I got my game pickup from GameStop, which I think now knowing that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet is coming out, I'm not gonna get it off of GameStop. I'm gonna get it like somewhere else because GameStop, for some odd reason, they be opening up at in the noon 12 p.m. Like compared to like a Best Buy or another store, they open up at earlier that time. So, that's kind of the thing there. So, yeah. Um, but Sonic Frontiers. Now, listen, I'm not one of those people, those game reviewers that go into all the freaking things and stuff like that and the innards and outers of the game. I just want to tell you my time with the game, how much I enjoyed it, how much I liked the game, and if there were some issues I had with the freaking game. But honest to goodness, with my hype levels being pretty high for Sonic Frontiers, in my opinion, I felt like Sonic Frontiers lived up to the hype that it was giving us. Now, my rating for this game is like an 8 out of 10. Some people put this at like a 6 out of 10 or a 7 out of 10. For my personal opinion, I think the game's an 8 out of 10. I think it freaking did everything that it set out to do. Now, yes, is there some hiccups in the story, especially in the downplay in the end? And I'll get a little bit into story content later on, but I enjoyed my time with the game from the moment I first played the game, from that first cyberspace level to the open zone stuff, in the different on the different islands and everything, the different Starfall islands. I had enjoyment, and it's just like for some reason, it might be some of the most bland Sonic stuff you could do. It's just run around this freaking island and collect these memory tokens or these other items or the Cocos and stuff like that. And you're constantly doing it over again and then fighting enemies and that are in the overworld. But it's like for me, it's like I got some weird enjoyment out of it where it's like, yes, it's repetitive, but it's still fun. And mind you, I beat the game and I still have yet to go back and complete like an island fully by getting everything on the island. Um, but it was like I'm actually enjoying this. I'm having fun playing this. I haven't had fun playing a modern Sonic game since Sonic Generations. Like, it was freaking great. And I enjoyed my time with it. And yes, to some other people out there, it may not this. And I think the thing is, it's something different in a Sonic game that we haven't seen before, really, to be honest. Like, the old, format was, yes, you got your story, but you go through a pretty much linear zone design and you're just boosting through the zone, getting to the goal ring and everything. And that's kind of what the cyber chase levels are in this cyberspace levels are in this game. But the fact that it was different where it's like, where it's like the cyberspace levels, they aren't recommended to complete. Like, to progress the story, you have to not only collect memory tokens, but you have to get these gate keys to unlock access to collect a Chaos Emerald. And in reality, you don't really need to do the cyberspace levels. There's times where I find gate keys in the overworld. And you don't really need to do the cyberspace level. Now, maybe towards the last island, yeah, you might need to do cyberspace levels, but regardless, cyberspace levels are pretty much optional in this game. You don't have to do them. You can just look around in the overworld and get your stuff done right then and there. And that's kind of the thing. Yeah. I got an enjoyment out of this game, and I really enjoyed playing this game. And it's was something that to me as a Sonic fan was just refreshing. It was refreshing, and it has those same elements of previous Sonic games, but it's this new way they handled the game. It was refreshing, and this is definitely the direction, the games more than likely could be headed. The people at Sonic Team and Sega, they've definitely talked about potentially making a Sonic Adventure 3. Well, you can pretty much go off this formula. You just include different playstyles for the different Sonic characters. Which that's something I'll talk about a little bit different at the end. But I thought it was cool to go through these different islands. The 5 different islands were really 4.5 different islands, and just run, speed, collect things, and go all over them, and then figure out this mysterious story of that is Sonic Frontiers and everything. So yeah, getting the Chaos Emeralds again, they're fairly simple. You can get them. There's like the few times in the story they have story missions where it earns you a Chaos Emerald, and then obviously you collect enough, gate keys, you can be able to or vault keys or whatever, you'll be able to get the Chaos Emeralds that way as well. And then memory tokens, you collect memory tokens to free your friends or have other offshoot dialogue moments with the other Sonic characters and everything that actually are pretty good things. Voice acting in the game is pretty good. Roger Craig Smith returns as Sonic, which was funny because it looked like they blasted all the cast, but they brought them back. His deeper voice, I'm honestly fine with it of Sonic. It makes Sonic sound makes Sonic sound slightly older than compared to his first few first few voice acting moments of like back starting from Colors on to now. And And honestly, with a game that's kind of more of a serious tone, it is a very serious tone Sonic game. You know, I did like the appreciation that he made a little bit of a deeper voice. There's times in the games where you can hear that lighter Sonic voice in him, but he still maintained that pretty different, deeper voice. Um, in terms of Sonic and the characters, I really did like all the Sonic, and I did really did like Sonic and the other characters. And the one thing I've been seeing is they kind of redeemed their character. Now, the writer of this game, Ian Flynn, did his first, job writing for this game, and this guy is a Sonic nut, man. He was making freaking references out of the ass. There was times where he makes references like absolutely crazy. Like when there's a part of there's a part when you go deal with the island that Knuckles is on, he has a flashback moment to Sonic 3 and Knuckles on Angel Island and everything. You know, having Amy's character be a lot different than it's been interpreted in the series. What we thought, like we all thought she was a crazy lovesick hedgehog for Sonic. But in this game, when you have dialogue scenes with Amy, she sounds damn near like human, pretty much. She actually has a character to her, and it isn't a lovesick thing. And it isn't to be the thing where Sonic's actually getting sick of her. He actually appreciates being around her there, which I appreciate and everything. They had a whole reference to her being into the tarot cards and everything, and stuff like that. The Tails stuff, which I think is probably what people were like, oh shit, they're finally freaking making Tails' character better. They acknowledge his fears about relying on Sonic too much, and they make the mention about what happened in Sonic Forces with him pretty much being a scaredy cat against Infinite and everything. And his whole story of it's okay to always have it's okay to have help from your friends every now and then. But Sonic can see that he's grown. Tails has grown in his own way, building the confidence back up in Tails. Some of the things that restores some of these characters that we thought were absolute jokes, back to, I would say, a prominent state again. Acknowledges it. I like the writing. Acknowledges the issues with these characters in the writing, and then guess what? Like, it's making a mockery of it, like, yeah, everything. So if Ian Flynn, continues to come back for these Sonic games, I'm very much down for him to come back for more Sonic games to write stories of these Sonic games, because he's a pretty good comic writer for the Sonic comics and everything. And I enjoyed him just with the many references. Like, again, with Knuckles. Knuckles, the last few games, they made him either a bumbling idiot or some sort of like commanding leader in a way. And guess what? Ian Flynn made Knuckles go back to the roots he was. Not only if you watch the prologue, animated short for Sonic Frontiers, but even in this game, it's like, no, this is freaking Knuckles from the freaking past that we've grown up with. And everything, and you hope that they bring Ian Flynn back for future games, so then other Sonic characters that maybe show up in future games, guess what? Maybe they get their just due respect, and they actually have their characters turned around from what originally people perceive of their characters. I enjoyed Sage's character, and with the ties to Eggman and that whole dilemma. I'll speak a little bit later about that. But yeah. The console I played this game on was the PlayStation 5. I would buy, and I don't know, I guess the two modern day consoles, which are the Xbox Series X or S, and then PlayStation 5, they're probably the best consoles you can play the game on. My co-host Red Wolf, who's doing a walkthrough of Sonic Frontiers, is playing on the Xbox One. I don't know how that looks on the Xbox One. I have seen my sister play the game on the Switch, and the one thing I have seen from the Switch, the game does not look that good on the Switch. So if it was me, try to get on the more modern consoles. But if you only got Switch, hey, you're just gonna have to deal with it. But it definitely isn't the best looking on the Switch, because I think that's just how much. I heard there's like pop-in issues and everything. But like I said, I don't really look too much into it. I just when I'm giving my game reviews, it's how much I enjoy these games. And I had a fun time enjoying these games. Just the many different puzzles and challenges. Even then, again, those were repetitive, but I still had some enjoyment completing those challenges, opening more of the matches. Sonic fighting, having a combat whole thing in this game. It was something different that we haven't seen, because typically in Sonic games, it's just, oh, you play a classic Sonic game like a Sonic Mania or any of the classic games, you just jump and you bounce on another opponent. Or in the modern Sonic games, boom. You're just doing the homing attack. Yeah, they have those elements in the game, but he actually has a combat system in this game where he's actually fighting with his fists. And, honestly, at first it was a little janky and everything for me, but then when I ended up getting, better utilize when I ended up getting a better control of the controls and the combat system, it was kind of a breeze. And honestly, I enjoyed something different in excuse me, in a Sonic the Hedgehog game, because there's actually combos and stuff like that, and I'm like, I like it, I enjoy it. And fighting some of the enemies were like, from some enemies were fairly easily to some enemies that were like, oh shit, this is actually freaking difficult as hell. But all the enemies, and especially when you go to different islands, there's different enemies, and everything, and they're own unique in their own ways. And they're going against some of these, like the bigger enemies, which are like the guardian enemies. They have their own unique type of way to defeat them and everything. So pretty cool. Another Sonic character that shows up in the game is Big the Cat. The fishing levels, they're pretty good. It's not as freaking hate filled like back in Sonic Adventure. It's pretty much simple. It's just like pretty much, I guess you could say, a quick time event, and you can get a bunch of freaking items and everything. And in order to fish, you got to get these purple coins, and stuff like that. But and high key, do the big stuff. If you play the game, do the big stuff, especially in terms of the story. Get enough purple coins, and buy all the Eggman memos and then listen to them. The Eggman memos had like things that add on to the story that you don't understand, that you may not understand if you finish the game and didn't collect them. And plus, the Eggman memos, they make references, to previous Sonic games and things like that. Like one of the Eggman memos, has, in one of them, they not only reference I forgot they not only reference the echidnas from Sonic Adventure, and that whole thing there. They reference the black arms from Shadow the Hedgehog and the Babylonians from Sonic Riders. And when I heard that, I was just like, so does that mean like they're canon now to the storyline? If you're talking about the game universe of Sonic, are they now canon? And based on the Eggman memos, it seems like now Sonic Riders, and obviously some people were debating, is Shadow the Hedgehog canon to the game universe of Sonic? Well, I'm guessing now those games are canon to the universe now. They're now canon to the Sonic the Hedgehog gaming universe. So now when you go back and you play all the games from the beginning, you got to play from Sonic 1 all the way, and you got to include Sonic Shadow the Hedgehog. That's the one Sonic game I haven't played. I've been on the fence about playing that game. And then now you got to add the Sonic Rider series to the game, I guess. Honestly, for me, kick out Free Riders. Just keep Zero Gravity and the original Sonic Riders, and you'll be good. But they made a reference to those guys, to the Babylonians. I was like, oh shit. I think there's even a line Sonic says in the overworld. He makes a reference about Jet the Hawk or something. I'm like, okay. So Jet the Hawk and his characters are canon. So which made me wonder, like, can we get a Sonic game where it's not a Sonic Riders game? We actually see them appear in the game? So, yeah, that was cool. Anything else I want to talk about? Anything else I want to talk about before I get to spoilery content? Oh, cyberspace levels. They're not all that bad. Now, the 2D ones aren't the best because for some reason they're held very janky, and Sonic, to me, in 2D portions of this game feel very stiff. Not as free as he is in 3D sections, but it is what it is. But cyberspace levels, honestly, I know people had their reservations and they didn't. And going into the game before the game came out, people were like, I'm not really into these cyberspace levels, especially the fact they're reused designs of previous levels. But we find out that they're part of Sonic's memory, anyways. So it kind of makes sense why there's some reused level designs from previous games. Like one of the level designs was like from freaking Sonic Generation, Sonic Unleashed, and everything. Simple things like that. Like one of the cyberspace levels is a legitimate ripoff of the one Shadow grinding level. I think it's Sky Rail. I forgot what the level's called. Literally just like that, and it works just fine in this game. But cyberspace levels, honestly, I enjoyed my time with the cyberspace levels. I had no issues with them. And also too, the music, going to the music, that was another thing. The music is amazing in this game. If there's one thing about Sonic games that's always consistently good, is the music. Some of the cyberspace levels, music was, oh my gosh, great stuff. Great tracks. The overworld songs were absolutely phenomenal as well. Some of the battle themes are absolutely crazy. And everything. What is it? And then also too, the more you complete on said island, the more you get a different track, a different type of interpretation of the song, and it's just really freaking great, really freaking great. And speaking of music, the Supersonic versus Titan boss battles. Oh my gosh! When I'm telling you guys that Supersonic, bro, has respect put on his name. This is the game that puts respect on Supersonic's name. And holy crap, I don't care what anybody says. This is the best. This is the one game that handles Supersonic the #1 best way ever. Out of any Sonic game Supersonic has been a part of, this has been the best utilization of Supersonic, and I will stand by that. And I don't know if there will be any other future Sonic games that will top the way they handled Supersonic in this game. The Titan boss battles were absolutely cinematically stunning. They were fun to play, and it was just great to see Supersonic be super. Like, they make him be a damn god when he goes into Supersonic. And, you know, it's just one of those memorable experiences when you have played it for the first time. It's like, and especially when you go against Giganto, the first Titan boss, it's just, it hits you and you're like, oh shit, this is epic as fuck. Excuse my language, but that's how damn good the Supersonic boss battles were in this freaking game, man. They were in this game. Like, absolutely stunning. And I was like, this is the best way they've ever handled Supersonic in any of the Sonic games. You know, going back, the last time we saw Supersonic involved in like story portions with Sonic Generations. And it was your typical thing right then and there. And they actually do go back to the whole thing where, you know, it was just great, man. It was just great to see Supersonic out in his full glory. And it was just wonderful. Just absolutely wonderful. One more thing before I talk about spoilerly content about Sonic Frontiers. Play this game. If you get this game, play it on the hard difficulty, because the hard difficulty gives you an extra secret boss after the end of the game instead of that. And then that's when we go into spoilery content. So spoiler warnings for Sonic Frontiers. The game's been out for about a week now, so I think it's pretty fine to talk about spoilers. But the story was actually unique. Just from the standpoint, it was interesting. We find out that in a way the ancients are in a way slightly related or have a similar DNA structure to that of Chaos. And in one of the Eggman memos, Eggman makes a mention of like one of the ancients' DNA structure is similar to that of Chaos. And we find out that these ancients, you know, they came from another planet. And they had the Chaos Emeralds. So we not only find out that the ancients Chaos is, I guess you can say, race, you know, came from a different planet. The Chaos Emeralds, they came from a different planet, and they came to planet Earth, but we see how the main true final boss, called literally the End, this like planet-destroying creature, took out this entire race and eliminated everything. And these people tried to use the Titans, but it never worked and it didn't do anything. The thing is, you know, the Chaos Emeralds were sealed this thing off from ever coming back. And that was kind of the thing. These races this ancient race kind of evolved into the Cocos, and I guess in some cases it also has tie-ins to the Chow as well, because again, these are related. These ancients are related to chaos because they have the similar things. So that first, you get the first cutscene when you see what they look like. I'm like, they look like freaking Chaos Zero. So it's wild to think that these characters, the Chaos Emeralds, the Chaos Race, the Chow, the Coco, they came from a whole damn different planet. And they came to whatever you want to call it, something, Mobius, Earth, whatever. And it's just wild. It's like, damn, crazy. And we kind of see how some of these ancients, they ended up becoming Cocos if they, I guess, stayed around on the Starfall Island. But I'm guessing if some of the ancients migrated somewhere else, they ended up turning into Chow. I'm guessing. The Eggman and Sage stuff, that shit was emotional as fuck. You get this whole thing of Sage understanding, because we find out that Sage was created by Eggman as an AI, pretty much. And at first, she's very hostile to Sonic. And when you see the cutscenes with her and Sonic, with her and Eggman, she ends up realizing, like, you have a hatred for Sonic, but you at the same time seems like you respect him. And Eggman's like, yeah, I respect that hedgehog, but at the end of the time, I still don't like him, but he is a formidable adversary, and I do respect him. And you see the more as you get these character cutscenes with Sonic, whether it's Amy, Knuckles, or Tails, you see how Sage ends up changing as a character and saying, like, hey, this guy isn't really as bad as Dr. Eggman is saying, and everything. And again, the relationship between Eggman and Sage, even though you don't get a lot of cutscenes between the two, but if you go and get the Eggman memos, you get more understanding of what Eggman is internally thinking to himself. And he pretty much, by the time the end of the game is, he sees Sage as pretty much an adoptive daughter, or pretty much as his daughter he created. And we get left off out of the game, like, it seems like he somehow got the consciousness of Sage and somehow saved it. So I don't know if the next game, whatever it is, or we get some DLC, we'll see Sage return, but there's a legitimate chance the next Sonic game, whenever that happens, Sage will return. Even though they had that whole, climactic thing where it looks like she died, but it seems like Sage could potentially be returning. But I like that whole thing where Eggman, especially when you listen to the memos, he grew to actually appreciate Sage, and you saw a different side of Eggman. Not Eggman where we've seen in the past few games where he's only about world domination. We get a different side of Eggman where it's like, he sees one of his creations now as literally a living embodiment child of his. And he even makes a mention about Cubot and Orbot, that Sage makes a mention, like, would they be like my brothers in a way? And Eggman's like, yeah, I guess that'd be considered your brothers or something like that. And getting just this different approach of Eggman compared to the other previous games was quite nice, because it shows that, you know what? At the end of the day, he's a human, and when you can get him to pull out those heartstrings, he actually can care about something. And he cared about somebody like Sage, he grew to care about over the time, because Sage was somebody that was protecting him his entire time. And, he saw that as his daughter. So it was really great writing from Ian Flynn. Really great writing. Again, the story isn't like the most complex, the most dark and everything, but it's something that you can relate to and actually build connections with the characters. In a way, it was cool to see a different take of Eggman, not the whole I'm gonna take over the world domination stuff like we saw in like Sonic Forces and previous games like that. It was nice to see that. And then, like I said, the end final boss battle, I ain't gonna freaking lie. That shit, my God. Now, okay, the final boss battle with the end, which if you play this game on hard mode, there you go. The end boss battle was absolutely one of the hardest boss battles I had ever played in a Sonic video game. Like, now we get some interpretations of that in some of these hacking stuff where it's like, okay, you have this thing fires off light, balls, or these black balls, no homo, guys. I'll say this, not balls, orbs. These orbs, and you have to change between light shots and dark shots. The end final boss battle, it was wildly hard. Now, for me, it was kind of underwhelming of a boss battle, but I'll give it this. It was difficult as shit, and it was getting me to the verge of absolutely damn near rage quitting. Like, I died so many times during this boss battle that I'm just like, dude, what the hell? Why is this fight so damn hard, man? And props. They made something difficult. There was just one stage where I'm like, there's no way you can freaking dodge this. And then it makes it even harder when you have to do these quick time events. And if you keep missing, there's only so much times you can do it. And if you fail it, shit, I got to that part my first time, and then boom, I freaking failed it, and then I just started the battle from the beginning. And yeah, the one thing I do appreciate is the more you die during this final boss battle, the more lives they end up giving you. They end up actually giving you more lives. Like by the time I died so much, they gave me like 6, 7, 8 lives in one sitting. But you know, that was kind of the thing there. Ultimately, as I hold on for a second. Ultimately, Sonic Frontiers. It was a game that I feel revived the Sonic gaming franchise for all the right ways. Yes, I know I didn't talk about many of the game's issues, but I was just giving my perspective on what I did enjoy, what I did like. Oh, one more thing. The one thing I actually didn't like, that I was speaking that they could do for Sonic Adventure 3 if they ever decide to do it. I did not like how I like this whole thing in the cyber corruption with Sonic. But I didn't like the cutscene where they just had Amy, Tails, and Knuckles just hold hands, and then they bring Sonic back from the cyber corruption. I wish there was a point in that game where you actually play as and have this be like a test run for a potential Sonic Adventure 3. You play as Amy, Tails, and Knuckles, and you do these small little missions to bring Sonic back from his cyber corruption. I feel like they should have did that in the story, because I feel like, okay, he's cyber corrupted. And then they do this power of friendship moment by holding hands, and they come back. And he comes back just like that. I didn't like that. I wish they kind of did it where you play as those characters as a test run through just say a level, and like similar to that of the end of Sonic 06, when they had to bring Sonic back from the dead in that game. I wish they kind of did that, because I felt like it would have been a lot better to help do that, and it would have made it worth it where you bring him back, Sonic back from the cyber corruption. But that's just me. That was just a little nitpick. But like I said, even though I know there are issues in this game, at the end of the day, I still got enjoyment out of playing this game, and this is the best modern Sonic game to date since Sonic Generations. This game, in my opinion, single-handedly saved the fucking franchise, the gaming franchise, because this game came out as a flop. The Sonic gaming franchise might be dead as we know it, and nobody would look forward to another Sonic game from this point on. But with this element, this new change, this new direction, it seems like Sega and Sonic Team are going, and this might be the new gaming, I guess you could say, the new gaming style the series is going to take. I'm definitely down for more. Like I said, you can now incorporate a potential Sonic 3 or Adventure 3 just based on that. Or if we get a Sonic Frontiers 2 or something like that where we have more playable characters, I'm down for that. And if this is the direction Sonic Team's going at the same time, making more innovations to the Sonic game style, play style, I'm all down for more of that. And yeah, this game was a blast to play. And man, it was definitely one of those moments where I had utter enjoyment playing a Sonic game, and that's been the first time I've had that much fun playing a Sonic game since Sonic Generations. And I know I talked about Sonic Mania, and I had a great time playing that, but when I'm talking about straight up modern Sonic enjoyment, I haven't felt something about a game since Sonic Generations. And I thank Sonic Team and Sega for fucking listening to the fans and actually giving a damn about this game. Because with Sonic Forces, it seemed like they didn't give a damn about the game. They just really wanted to get the game out just to get the game out. And Sonic Team and Sega, they realized, no, the fans want more. Some of these are hardcore Sonic fans. We got to give them more. We got to give them better. And, you know, again, like I said, this game's not perfect. But I think Sega and Sonic Team passed the test, and I'm definitely looking forward to the future of Sonic the Hedgehog in the video games, whether how long that's going to be, when the next game's going to be. Just, I hope they take their time out. This game was delayed. I just hope they take their time to create these games. Don't rush things just to get a quick buck. I hope they don't fall into that trap again, because some reviews of this game are actually pretty solid. Some people say they like it. You know, they're mixed. Some people don't like it. Some people do. I just hope next Sonic game they don't rush. They take their time with the game. But I think Sonic Frontiers passes the test. It's a great Sonic game in my eyes, especially being a Sonic fan, and I can't wait for whatever the next Sonic game is. I don't know if there's gonna be any other extra, maybe story DLC or something else. There obviously seems like they're adding free DLC in the terms of like skins and everything. Go sign up for the newsletter if you haven't, to get the Sonic SAO2 shoes before January of next year happens, because after January of next year happens, you won't be able to get that. So sign up to the newsletter and get your Sonic Adventure 2 soap shoes. I already have that, and I'm doing another playthrough of Sonic Frontiers, playing with those shoes on. I think if you pre-order the game, you get another skin that I think they'll just release at some point later. And then I think they released like a free Monster Hunter DLC skin for Sonic Frontiers as well. So yeah. But other than that, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. If you guys liked my thoughts on Sonic Frontiers, leave it a lot. Do that. If you play Sonic Frontiers, what were your thoughts on playing Sonic Frontiers? Only the next video game review, I'll probably talk about that. I'm highly anticipated for is the next main series Pokemon game, which is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, which I'll be getting this Friday. I'll play it, and when I beat it, I'll give you my thoughts on it. When I have time. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna get out of here. Catch you guys in the next video. Till then, guys, stay safe out there and hit that subscribe button if you want to get more anime content or if you want me to talk more video game stuff. Till then, guys, see you guys later. Peace.